And we are live for another edition of Saturday Sparks. I am Adam Bauer here, CEO and co-founder of the Marketing Clerics. I'm so excited to be here with you every Saturday. This is, I think, week 5 now, and the topics have been awesome. You guys have been great asking questions and prompting some of the direction here, because I am typically a squirrel and I will go on and ramble. So as people start to jump on, I want to share a little bit of the purpose behind this Saturday Sparks, this live session. So really, the goal of this is to provide good, valuable information that will help electricians or other tradesmen take the practices or the wisdom that is shared here and implement it on their own, or, Lord willing, reach out to us. So the other thing that I'm doing it for is to help me become a better orator. And so I have historically been ums and ahs and really hard to talk, and so this is helping me practice, because my goal in the next 12 months is to go up on a stage somewhere, share my expertise and my value. And I can't do that if I don't know how to orate very well. So those are two of the things that we're here for. The other benefit, I think, is just providing an outlet for tradesmen to ask good marketing-related questions in a low-risk environment without being sold. There's so many marketing agencies out there that are promising the moon. They're selling you on services left, right, and center. And this is the reason why it's in this live format is so that I don't have the opportunity to ask you questions and flip into that selling mode. And so really it's something that I want you guys to comment. I want you guys to ask questions, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. So for this week, as you start jumping on here, we are going to be talking about Google LSA and Google Ads a little bit. So I wanted to touch on this because the question kind of came up in one of the other groups that I'm in, where it's just, how do I keep getting these irrelevant or junk leads from Google LSA? And how do I stop that? How do I prevent that? So that's where the question came from, and we'll be jumping into that here in a deep dive. So the challenge we have with Google LSA is that it is not entirely under your control. So Google LSA is, for those of you who don't know, it's a pay-per-lead ad system. And so Google LSA will allow you to show your ad for free. So you can get visibility. You're not going to pay if someone clicks on your ad. You're only going to pay, and you only get charged if someone sends you a message or gives you a call through your ad. And that is pretty attractive for some smaller businesses, because or even larger businesses, because it's low risk. The challenge is it's very simplistic in its design and setup. And so it's based on your primary category as a Google business profile. And anyone searching for that category or anything around that category, you're going to be shown, your ad is going to be shown. So those are the drawbacks of that. But I wanted to show my screen here so I can share with you just the distinction here. So I just did an electrician near me search on here in Hastings, Minnesota. So the first section of the search results on desktop show up with this sponsored electricians in Hastings. This is Google LSA. And these two individuals don't have the Google guaranteed stamp, doesn't look like, but this is LSA. So these are all the services that are coming up. So hey, I want to install outlets or switches. These are the businesses that show up. And you can see we've got typically replies in here. So that's one of the things we'll talk about here in a little bit. The next section in the search results, this is Google Ads, so sponsored ads. This is just pay-per-click ads. So if I click on this ad, Hero Home Services is going to be charged a click. And pay-per-click depends on your region, but it averages between $4 and $8 per click. So I clicked on this ad and took no action, scrolled through the site, maybe looked at some pictures, some services, that kind of stuff. Hero Home Services would pay between $4 and $8 for that click, even if I didn't submit a form, didn't call them or anything. Then the next section of the search results is the map pack. And so this is the big three. So these are the big three that show up organically. And then you have and the sponsored on top here, this is not Google LSA. This is actually Google Ads and pay-per-click. So the strategy, so LSA, you're going to show up for your primary category almost all the time. And so that's what you're going to see. You'll also show up probably for some of the services in your service list on your profile. And you can't really control where you're seen. Pay-per-click here, so Hero Home Services pay-per-click ad, can be shown, and you can restrict when it's shown based on the keyword to an extent. And so there's such a thing called phrase match, broad match, exact match for keywords. And so you want to be a little careful on that. So if someone is looking for, if your keyword is electrician near me and you're using a broad match, that could be how to become an electrician, could also show your ad. And so you want to be careful with pay-per-click. And then businesses, map pack, this is another section of the strategy. Just to emphasize, when you are searching on Google search, either on desktop or on mobile, you will see LSA ads, you'll see the pay-per-click ads, and you'll see the map pack ads. When you're searching on a mobile device with just maps, you're only going to see the pay-per-click ads, in my experience. So you won't see LSA versions on here. And so you want to have a blend of both. So if you have a second here to look at ads, so how do you set up your sponsored ad within the map pack? That's not LSA. That's in pay-per-click. So you set up your campaign just like you normally would with a search campaign. And then you go into the assets section, and you go into assets, and then you click the plus sign, and you go into, I think I already have a location. So here it is, location. And so then, as long as you're signed into the same account that manages the location, your Google profile, you hit continue and then select that Google profile and add it as an asset to your campaign. Simple as that. Once that's done, you'll start showing up, your ad will start showing up here in the map pack as well as in the search results in the map pack. But just remember, that's pay-per-click. So if I click on this ad, if I click on the website, click on directions, any action I take on this is going to charge me, regardless of if it results in a conversion or not. So that is kind of overview between the distinction of LSA and pay-per-click. Let me just take a pause. I'm going to see if we have any comments. Nope, I don't think we do. So I'm just going to keep diving in to Google LSA. So the question came in, why do I keep getting irrelevant leads from Google LSA? And when they raised the question, it wasn't that they were complaining about spam or junk calls or messages, because those come in regardless of what you do. It's just the nature of online marketing right now. And it's only getting worse, which sucks a lot. But they were saying that there was a residential electrician, so they don't do any commercial work. And so they were getting in conversions or leads for people asking for commercial work. And so they were like, well, how do I prevent the commercial work from coming in? Because they come in, they send me a message, they give me a phone call, and I have to pass that referral on to a partner who does the commercial stuff. I still get charged for the lead, and I just want to stop that. So what I want to do is I want to go over from the beginning, for those of you who aren't aware, and just to be helpful, from the beginning with LSA, when you are setting up, and the prerequisites for setting up Google LSA, right? Plus that guaranteed badge. If you've seen it, the Google Guarantee, which basically means you stand by your work. If the work isn't up to par, you are going to refund or make it right, that kind of stuff. So that's what the Google Guarantee badge means. So in order to get not only the Google LSA, but the Google Guarantee badge, you need to have background checks run on you as the owner and any employee or any tech that will enter a customer's home. And so if you have 5 field techs, you've got to run 5 background checks, and you as the owner. If you only have 3 field techs and 1 office manager, you just need to run the background check on the field techs and yourself as the owner. And don't worry, those are free. They're included in the process. So Google runs those for you as you apply for LSA. Next, you'll need a valid business license, or as well as a trade-specific license. So you need to have your LLC registered, your DBA, however it is, needs to have the same address that is on your Google profile. And you need to have a trade-specific license. In this case, an electrician license, either a state or local license. You'll load that as part of the application process. Next, you'll need proof of insurance and general liability. Proof of insurance, which is basically you'll need general liability coverage for as a business, as well as workers' comp for your team. The next thing you'll need is your Google business profile. This has shifted probably in the last year. Google LSA now uses your Google business profile as the source of truth for all of your services, all of your location, service areas, your phone number, all that kind of stuff. So it pulls in all of that information. So your Google business profile must be accurate, must be active, not suspended, must be verified. It must include your business name as it is on your DBA or your LLC. The services that you provide must be listed. The service areas that you serve must be listed. Hours of operation, business phone number, and then a business logo or a headshot if you don't have a brand. So those are the things that you'll need for your Google business profile. Next, you will need a minimum rating of 3.0 or higher based on all your Google reviews combined. And so if you do not have a rating of 3.0 or higher, then you cannot run an LSA ads. If your rating drops below 3.0 when you're running Google LSA ads, you will not be able to run Google LSA ads anymore. And then the last thing we'll talk a little bit more about is just having a good response rate and good plan for responding to leads will help you get better visibility and rank higher in the Google LSA list. So those are the prerequisites to getting Google LSA set up and that guaranteed badge. The second thing I want to go through is the process for applying for the LSA program and getting it started, basically. And so first, LSA is not available in every region or area. So thanks everyone for joining. If you're hopping in, we're talking about Google LSA, helping to prevent getting irrelevant leads. I'm kind of starting from beginning and going through LSA overall, and just went over the prerequisites of getting accepted into that program. So now I'm going to jump into the process for applying to Google LSA. So first, you want to make sure you are in eligible countries, regions, or categories. And so there's only about 5 or 6 eligible categories, and typically they're around home services. So electricians, plumbers, contractors, those kind of services. And then as far as regions go, I think every region in the United States is covered, but there might be some regions globally that might not be eligible for LSA. I don't know those off the top of my head. So once you're eligible for that, then you sign in with the Google account that owns or manages your Google business profile. Pretty simple, right? Open a Google search, say Google LSA setup, go to that sign up page. Then you are ready to apply. You will know before you jump into the sign in page, you want to ensure that your Google business profile is fully configured. And so we talked about this earlier. You want to make sure you have a category and subcategories. So if you are electrician, but you also have subcategories of like lighting or other categories like that, add those into your subcategories. You want to make sure your services are built out and added. You want with descriptions. You want to have your service areas defined. So this is typically going to be either cities or zip codes. It's probably better than zip codes, but yeah, you can have up to 20 of them. So if you're in a more rural area, include some of those. You want to have your operating hours fully defined. Have your phone number captured in there and a detailed description of your profile in your business. So once you have those defined, then you will jump into the application process for LSA. So make sure you have all the documentation ready. So your electrician's license, your liability insurance, workers' comp, and your business registration docs. So you need those to go through that application process. Once you get through that, then you'll go through the next step, which is background checks. Thanks everyone for joining. Just circling back here, we're talking about Google LSA and the process for applying. We'll jump into optimization tips as well here in a little bit. So you submit documentation, that application process. The next step in that process is completing the background checks for the owners and all techs that are going to be in customers' homes. So you don't have to do that for any office staff or any support staff. They just have to be done for anyone that's going to be entering a customer's home. And this is all done right within the application process. So it's a free background check that is run through Google's third-party partners. And so there's no additional cost here needed. So just run through that. And then once you're done with that, you want to set your weekly budget. There's two options that you can use. You can set, you want to maximize your leads with the budget, or do you want to set a max per lead? And I would recommend, if you're just getting started, do the maximize leads and set the budget to something reasonable. You could do is do some research in your area to see what the cost per lead typically is and what it averages. And what we're seeing is nationwide average is about like $45 per lead, depending on your region and the competition. And so taking that, saying, okay, I want 10 leads per week at $45 a lead, that's $450 a week. So set that as your budget and go from there. Once you start like out and using it more, you can see what your cost per lead is, and you can then flip to the manual bidding if you wanted to. So you can set I only want to pay $22 per lead max, and then Google will show you when it's not as competitive, and they'll get to those leads at that cost. Then you want to launch your ads. Once you have your ads launched, you want to make sure that you're monitoring, optimizing, and tracking the leads that come in. So monitor. When you get a message, when you get a call, you want to respond to that very quickly, like ASAP. Because as you saw in my previous, it tells you basically what your typical response rate is. And so how likely is a customer going to reach out to someone whose typical response rate is 2 business days? Not as likely as someone who responds within 15 minutes. And so that's an advantage for you. And so if you have any automations in place, any way to capture that, or maybe just have someone dedicated to monitoring those and responding to those immediately, that's the best thing. Optimizing, and we'll jump into that, but you want to optimize your Google business profile as part of the Google LSA strategy. And so we'll jump into what that looks like in a second. And when you get leads that come in, you have to track them. So we'll send you leads, send you calls, that kind of stuff, but they'll stop sending them if you stop using their system to market if they were quotable or booked or sold leads. So if you don't follow their system, their CRM process for the leads, they're going to start phasing your ad out. And so it's just simply having someone that is going to out and keep tabs on that. Say this person was booked, this person sold, and that way you can actually see that. And it's also helpful to see like ROI and stuff. So just to recap, so far we are talking about LSA. We went through prerequisites, which is background checks, valid business and trades license, proof of insurance with general liability and workers' comp, things you need to optimize and make your Google business profile accurate, maintaining a rating of 3.0 or higher, and getting really fast response rate on leads. We went through the process of applying for the program, which is pretty straightforward. Then now we're going to jump into tips for getting the best results. So this directly will answer the questions about getting relevant leads. So sorry about the roundabout way to getting to this point. I just wanted to make sure that everybody had a foundational knowledge before we jump into the specifics. So the number one thing that you can do to get the best results with your LSA ads is respond promptly. And so as you saw, the list here, you basically, Google will, most of the time, they'll prioritize those that reply quickly. And so it also gets tagged onto your profile. And so this guy, Boundface, responds within 1 day. Okay. I am not urgent if I don't have a power outage or I don't have something that is needing immediate help. That's fine. I'll reach out to this person. But even if I don't, the nature of society right now and instant gratification, people want responses immediately. And they expect their problems or their things to be solved yesterday. And so if you have fast response time, so this is typically within a few minutes, in 15 minutes, then you'll start to see your ad show up more, and you'll get more incoming messages, incoming leads, calls, that kind of stuff. So that's the first tip. You're tight and very busy and it's really hard to respond. Don't have enough to respond to that, then I wouldn't run LSA ads at the moment. And so I wouldn't run these until you have who's able to dedicate to respond to these might come in. The nice thing is you can put it on your Google app on your phone, and you'll see the messages and the calls that come in, so you can respond phone wherever. So you don't have to be at a computer to respond to the leads. It might be a little be beneficial. So that's the first tip. The second tip, regularly optimizing and updating your services list. So what this is, so once you're into LSA, you see electrical, and then these are the services that they have listed here. This is based on the service list of each of these electricians in the list. And so when you're looking at trying to steer Google LSA to give you the leads that you want to make sure you have the services that you want to deliver defined in your business profile. So I'm going to pick on Austin at Matthews Lighting and Electric today. So if you are in your Google profile account, you see your business on Google, you'll click on this Edit Services button. And here you'll see your primary category is electrician. If you're an electrician, sometimes it'll be something different. But then you have your list of services. And so some of you might be looking at this list and being like, well, I don't want to do portable generators or emergency repair. I don't really want to do that. What happens with Google Profile is when reviews or when you get questions that you answer, the algorithm updates your services list automatically. So if someone leaves a review and says, I had this awesome electric EV charger install done by Matthews Lighting, they will then add electric EV charger installation to your services list. And if you aren't in here to approve it or deny it, it automatically gets approved. And so if you list, I just closed mine, but our list has a ton of things that take out all the time. And so you want to do this probably once a week, a good rhythm, through and clear out these. The other thing you want to do with the services is you want to add a short description to each of these. So for example, light fixture installation. Add a little descriptor about this service and kind of get towards the type of customer you want. This is for commercial only, and you want to define in the description like commercial light fixture installation or commercial light sign installation or something. And then you put that in the description and save it, and that will help kind of some of the algorithm to show your ad for specific. The other thing that a lot of people don't do and like to is adding prices. So the reason being is that people like price shoppers, they're going to look at electrical panel repair. It's going to cost me $2,500. Like I'm going to find someone who does it for $1,500. To me, that's fine. I don't want the person that's going to want it for $1,500. I want the person who's going to see the value and want to pay $2,500 for it. And the other thing with this is it actually the globalization of pricing. And so all that kind of stuff coming out as a tangent, the pricing is totally off base. And so if I go, let me just show an example here. And this is from a buddy of mine posted this past week. I wanted to see this because it's really important. So if I went in here and I said, what is the price for and asked ChatGPT, what's the price for electrical panel replacement in Minnesota? It's searching the web and it's finding price ranges. Okay. Average cost $27.30 for a 200 amp panel upgrade. We've got, and I just kind of go into explanation here further. So this number is pulled from this homeinspectioninsider.com. Now, and then here's another one, Electrician's Pro Matcher. So these are like ad services. So they're basically throwing out a bunch of numbers based on the average, and they're basically controlling the market price. Now, if electricians Minnesota statewide, if they put on their public website the price for a panel upgrade and head out there in the public, ChatGPT and all the AI tools can scrape that data and get a number or a budget that is actually tied to electricians and not connected to any of these like aggregator systems or stuff. And so that, like, one of the things that it was Joshua that was pushing this out. And so tangent over, AI is, people are able to ask AI anything. And so if you want it to have accurate pricing information, we need to start sharing that information. And so if you're not sure of if you're not, like, we had a conversation in one of my groups this last week that if you're not flat rate pricing, if you're T&M, you can put it as starting at. And so let's say, panel repair. Let's say your starting at price is $2,500 or $2,000. So you can put that starting at, and then it's just there. It's just could be more, and that's it. And so that is helpful information to have, your services list. And so long story short, your services list is what helps drive where ad shows up. And so when people are searching for electrical power restoration, they're going to see your ad because you have this service on your Google profile. So comb through this list regularly and add the services that you want to do or don't want to do and show up for in ads. The other thing that you want to do with your services list is you want it to reflect what services are listed on your website. And so Google is connected to your website. So you edit your profile, you got your website is here. And so if I go into Matthews Lighting website, this is their old website. We're working on a new one. They don't got services like repairs, inspections, upgrades, but there's no like services that we've seen on this site. There's generators as a promotional thing, but the services list in your Google profile, if it matches what's on your website, it's going to just amplify everything. Your ads, your organic reach, your visibility, all of that kind of stuff is just going to connect and be like. So that is services. For those of you who are just joining, we're talking about tips to getting best results with Google LSA. It will also help with your organic visibility as well. And so we talked about the first thing is to respond to leads immediately. So if you don't have someone that's able to dedicate or be interrupted to respond to leads, then you probably shouldn't run LSA ads at the moment. Want to regularly optimize your services list. I just talked about this. The next thing you want to do is you want to regularly add photos. And so when you're in here and you add photos, it is as simple as once a week, just take the photos from the field and just dump them in here. Like, you don't have to make it overcomplicated. Just continually add photos every week, your profile. That is going to help with organic visibility as well as your LSA visibility. The next thing you can do is ask for and respond to reviews within 24 hours. And so one of the ranking factors for Google LSA as well as organic is the review velocity and the responses to reviews. And so what I mean by review velocity is not by count. So some of these reviews, some of these people, they've got like reviews, 6,000 reviews, 8,000 reviews. Like the count of reviews, it's how many you've gotten in a period of time. And so if you a huge review campaign and you get 100 reviews within a month, you're going to have good visibility for that month. But then if the next month you don't do anything and you get 2 reviews, your visibility is going to go down. And so you want to continually have and ask for reviews. And some strategies around that are having your techs or your field operators have quick and easy ways to capture reviews. And so if just going in and finishing the service and them saying, oh, thank you so much for all you've done, and saying, yeah, really appreciate your kind words. Can you leave a review on Google for us with that? It would really help our business. That is one step. So that's one step. But it still requires an extra step or an extra action for that customer to do that. So what we recommend is getting these little NFC cards. They're pocket size. They fit in your wallet. It's a credit card. You can configure them with your Google profile. And what happens is when you're done with the service, you say, hey, ma'am or sir, I'd love for you to leave a review on the satisfaction of the service that we provided. You have your phone. I can just tap this and it'll pull it right up. And so you tap it on their phone. It pulls right up to the leave a review section of your Google profile. It lets them put in a star rating and a brief of the service and the location, that kind of stuff. And it's done right there, and then you can get it done before the tech even leaves the house. And bonus to that, this is not something that you should do ever in writing, but bonus to that is if you say, hey, if you leave the review right now, we'll give you $10 off your service bill right now, or $5 off, or whatever. Or if you wanted to do like the next service, however you want to do it, just make sure you do it verbally and not in writing. Because incentivizing for reviews is not an accepted practice with Google's terms of service. So you did not hear me say that. Then once you get the reviews, you want to make sure you respond to them within 24 hours. And I know that's a little tricky sometimes, but if you don't have a marketing partner that's helping you with those responses, what you can do is have a couple of people on your team have that Google account manager access on their phone, and you'll get a notification on the phone whenever a new review is left, and you just click on that notification, hit reply, put a little message, and send. And so it's really as simple as that. Just getting that out there really helps with that. And then the last thing for optimizing and getting better results with LSA is going to be tracking your lead status within that dashboard. So every time you get a new message, a new call, if it's something that you booked, is booked. If you sold it, mark it as sold. That way, Google knows the quality of the leads that are coming in on a regular basis and will continue to send you more. The other thing with that is the opposite end of the spectrum. If you have any spam calls or spam messages, which are coming more frequent, those will help you get that refund really quickly. And so if you have a SEO agency calling your ad to sell you SEO services, go into that leads dashboard, mark that lead disqualified within 24 hours, help you get out of that lead quickly. So those are the tips. So number 1, respond to incoming leads immediately. Number 2, regularly update our service list. And on top of that, and then number 3, regularly add project photos. Don't overcomplicate it. Just do a photo dump once a week from your field. Ask for and respond to reviews within 24 hours. Again, it's lead velocity, not lead count. So if you consistently have good reviews coming in, review velocity, not review count. And then the last thing is tracking lead status in that dashboard. So speeding disqualified leads quickly. So those are the tips for LSA optimization and getting the best results out of that. That is the only topic that I had today. If you have anything that is on your mind that you would like questions answered, please leave a comment and I will answer it to the best of my ability. And Otherwise, if there's nothing else, I think we might end early this week. I wanted to leave some space. Last week we had a number of questions and we went over. And so I wanted to only have a single topic this week so that we can have some time to answer just general questions as they might come up. So I will hang out here for a little bit and see what we might have coming in. While I'm waiting here, so I don't do this often. I think I only done this once, but if you want to have a one-on-one chat with me about any marketing challenge that you're having, any business challenge that you're having, I just posted a link if you want to get that scheduled. Happy to have that chat. Again, it's not a sales tactic. It's not a way to get your money. I genuinely want to help and serve. Those of you who know me, you'll get to know me. That is my bread and butter. And so I'm very slow to ask for money and very quick to offer help. It's actually one of my flaws and something I'm trying to work on because sometimes people take advantage of that, which is unfortunate. Okay. I don't see any new comments coming in. Maybe let me do this. Let me jump into, so I talked about LSA. Let me talk about Google Ads and pay-per-click as a contrast to LSA. Okay. LSA, as I said earlier, is a function that you can't really control the keywords that people are searching for. You can only show if you're going to show the category, people searching the category generally. Click, you can control the keywords that people search and the ads that you show. And so that's the difference. And so when you're in ads, what you can do is you can go into specificity on keywords. And so you want to be able to add a number of keywords. So this is an old campaign or old account for us. You want to also be able to add like keywords. And so when you're talking about pay-per-click and identifying what keywords you want to search for, a really good way for you to say, okay, I want to only show my ad for panel upgrades. And so I don't want any emergency services. I don't want any calls, any of that kind of stuff. I only want electrical panel upgrades, whole home rewiring. And so what you do is you can define those keywords. These are the keywords I want to show up for. And then when you're creating that campaign and that ad, you want to specifically call out those keywords, that service, and you want to have a specific landing page for that service that's dedicated only for the electrical panel upgrade service with a very short form for people to fill out for interest. And then you want to respond to that. Like, I guess when people are reaching out and that kind of stuff, you want to set up some sort of automation maybe and do like a SMS call out right up when they submit the form. That way you get them hooked, you get them there. Speed delete is just everything with electricians. So you define the keywords in here. You can also define locations. So you are in a specific area. You want to define that area in here. That can be radiuses. It can be zip codes. It can be anything that you want. You can add all the locations in one fell swoop. And then you want to also define location exclusions. So I don't have these defined in this one. It's an old campaign. One of the key things that I found is that a lot of times, even though you set the location with Google Ads, if you don't set the exclusion, you'll start getting junk leads from overseas and other countries and that kind of stuff. Then the other thing possibly is if you have kind of a lower budget, and so if you have maybe you only have $1,000 a month to spend on PPC, you want to set an ad schedule. So you want to show up only, like show your ad only on certain days of the week or only certain times of the day. That kind of will help not like through the whole budget without getting any leads. And then when you're looking at the keywords, locations, schedule. As you look through start creating the ads, you want to have the language defined, in the ad. And I think I'm not finding one because this is a really old account I haven't used in a long time. But you want to have the specific keywords called out in the ad copy and the ad descriptions and that kind of stuff. And then the last thing that's really helpful is when you're setting up the campaign, you want to exclude the search network. And so this is, again, an old campaign, old strategy. So you want to exclude the search network and display network. What this means is we don't want your ad to show up on a mobile device with display networks. So like you're doing a search on Craigslist or something, it'll show that ad there. Search network is also like if there's other non-Google searches. So think like you're on a separate like type website and they have a search bar. That's where this will show up in there. And so typically these networks will lead to more like burns and more click burns and all that kind of stuff that doesn't result in anything. So just turn those off. That's going to be the best thing there. And you want to make sure you know what your cost per lead is. The cost per acquisition is what it's called in Google Ads. Set that if you set that until you actually know. So anyway, Google Ads is really to set a very specific service to advertise for a very specific service, high ticket service, that kind of stuff. Google LSA is for any service. So anything that you might want leads for in your industry, that's Google LSA. You'll pay per click with Google Ads. You pay per lead with Google LSA. So those are kind of the differences between those two. If you have any deeper questions on that, feel free to leave a comment, in fact, and I can dive in a little deeper afterwards. You can use that link to schedule a one-on-one, and I'd be happy to take a look at your campaign, see what your goals are, and how we can help you get to those through targeted advertising. So that is what I'm going to talk about today. Advertising is just one facet of the overall internet marketing strategy. And so it is not intended to be the sole source of your leads. And in fact, advertising is one of the that we want to get away from over time. And so we don't want to be a slave to Google and Google Ads. We want to and have our own assets and our own websites that have the services, the connections that we need, the SEO that we need to be able to get those leads without paying for them. And so that's the overall strategy I preach. And so if you are interested in learning more about that strategy, keep following me. I'm posting about it all the time and have valuable information to share on a regular basis. And I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to provide value and to help you out. So you want to be a part of the Purposeful Marketing for Electrical Contractors group, Facebook, please leave a comment or send me a message and I'll get you invited. Otherwise, this has been episode 6 of Saturday Sparks Live. So thank you for those who were able to make it. Hopefully it provided you with immense value and action items to take back to your business. Until next time, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'd love to answer those questions for you and be that valuable part of your team. So let's continue on being growth-minded pros. So thanks all. Have a great rest of your Saturday and blessings on your week next week.